You have been sleeping your whole life. Every single night you close your eyes, you drift off, and you think your body is resting and recovering. But what if I told you that the position you sleep in right now, tonight, the one you have probably used for decades, is quietly working against your brain? It's not in some far-off future. Right now. Every single night. This is not a scare tactic. This is science. Real science from real universities. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand something about your own brain that most doctors have never even discussed with you. During a regular appointment, stay with me, because what I am about to share changes everything about how you think about sleep after the age of 60. Let me ask you something very simple. When you go to bed tonight, which side do you naturally roll onto? Most people do not even think about it. It just happens. Your body finds its position and you fall asleep. But researchers at some of the most respected institutions in the world have now discovered that this simple automatic choice you make every night has a direct connection to how fast your brain ages. And the people most affected are those over the age of 60. Here is why this matters so much at this particular stage of life. When you are young, your brain has a remarkable ability to bounce back. It is resilient. It can handle a bad night here and there. It can cope with poor sleep habits for stretches of time without showing major consequences immediately. But after 60, the story changes completely. The brain becomes more vulnerable. The margin for error gets smaller. And the consequences of doing the wrong thing night after night begin to show up in ways that feel very frightening, including memory problems, slower thinking, difficulty concentrating, and in more serious cases, a real increased risk of cognitive decline. Now here's the key thing I want you to understand before we go any deeper into the science. This is not about willpower. This is not about discipline. And this is absolutely not your fault. Nobody told you this. It was not on the news. Your GP probably never mentioned it. Most health content online skips over it entirely. So if you have been sleeping on your right side for 40 or 50 years, you did not know any better. But now you are going to know. That knowledge is powerful. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine your brain is a very busy office. All day long, this office is working hard. It's processing information, making decisions, managing your body, handling emotions, and storing memories. And like any busy office, it creates waste. Byproducts of all that hard work pile up throughout the day. Now, here is the critical question. When does that office get cleaned? Your brain has its own cleaning system. Scientists call it the glymphatic system. It is essentially your brain's internal waste removal network, and it works almost exclusively while you are asleep. During deep sleep, the spaces between your brain cells actually expand. Cerebrospinal fluid rushes through those spaces like a pressure wash and flushes out the toxic waste that is built up during the day. One of the most important waste products it removes is a protein called amyloid beta. You may have heard of it. It is the same protein that builds up in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. So your brain is cleaning itself while you sleep. That is remarkable. But here's where the sleep position comes in. The efficiency of this cleaning process. How well your brain actually gets flushed out each night is directly affected by the position your body is in while you sleep. And the research shows a very clear pattern. Some positions support this cleaning process beautifully. Others get in the way of it. And the right side. Research suggests it is not the best option, particularly as you get older. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, I have slept on my right side my whole life, and I feel fine. And I hear you. I completely understand that reaction. But this is exactly the problem with slow, cumulative processes. You do not feel them happening. Amyloid does not build up overnight, and then one day you wake up and notice it. It builds slowly, quietly, over months and years. And by the time there are noticeable symptoms, a lot of time has already passed. This is why prevention matters so much. It's why understanding this now, while you still have the opportunity to make a simple, it's completely free, zero-risk adjustment to your nightly routine is so valuable. I also want to be very clear about something. I am not here to diagnose anyone. I am not prescribing anything. I am not telling you that sleeping on your right side means you will definitely develop any specific condition. That is not what science says, and that is not what I am saying either. What I am telling you is that the research consistently shows that sleep position influences how effectively your brain cleans itself. And for people over 60, this is information worth taking seriously. In the next few minutes, we are going to go deep into the actual science behind your brain's cleaning system. Exactly what the researchers found about sleep position and what you can start doing tonight that costs you absolutely nothing. We are also going to talk about what else you can do to support your brain's natural cleaning process, because sleep position is just one piece of a fascinating puzzle, so do not go anywhere. The most important part of this video is coming right up. Let us talk about the glymphatic system properly, because this is the heart of everything we are discussing today. I promise you this is not complicated. I am going to explain it in plain English, because that is what it deserves. The glymphatic system was actually only properly discovered and described in 2012 by a researcher named Dr. Maiken Nedergaard and her team at the University of Rochester Medical Center in New York. That is surprisingly recent. For most of human history, we had no idea this system even existed. And it has taken another decade of research to start understanding just how important it really is. Here is how it works. Your brain and spinal cord are surrounded and cushioned by a fluid called cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid is clear. It is constantly being produced, and it circulates around and through the brain. During the day, when you are awake and active, your brain cells are slightly swollen and pressed together. There is not much room for fluid to move freely through the brain tissue, so most of the deep cleaning has to wait. But when you fall into deep sleep, something remarkable happens. Your brain cells actually shrink by up to 60%. The spaces between them open up dramatically, and cerebrospinal fluid rushes through these newly opened channels, sweeping through the brain like a river after heavy rain. It carries away cellular waste, toxic proteins, and metabolic byproducts that have accumulated throughout the day. Then this waste-filled fluid drains away through the lymphatic system in your neck and is eventually processed and cleared from the body. It is one of the most elegant systems in the human body, and we only found out about it 13 years ago. Now let us connect this directly to the sleep position. In 2015, researchers at Stony Brook University in New York conducted a study using rats, which have a glymphatic system very similar to our own. They measured how efficiently the glymphatic system worked in 3 different sleep positions: sleeping on the back, sleeping on the right side, and sleeping on the left side. The results were striking. The lateral position, meaning sleeping on either side, was significantly more efficient at clearing brain waste than sleeping on the back. But between the 2 side positions, sleeping on the left side showed the most efficient glymphatic clearance. Sleeping on the right side was less effective, and sleeping on the back was the least effective of all 3 positions studied. Now I want to be honest with you here, because honesty is important. This study was conducted on rats, not humans directly, and science is always evolving. We do not yet have a large-scale human clinical trial that definitively proves sleeping on your left side every night will prevent Alzheimer's. That research has not been completed yet. But what we do have is a consistent and growing body of evidence pointing in the same direction. And we have a biologically plausible mechanism, meaning we understand the reason why position would matter, which makes the findings much more credible. Here is something else worth knowing about why this is especially important after 60. As you age, several things happen to your glymphatic system that make it naturally less efficient. The channels through which cerebrospinal fluid flows begin to narrow with age. The brain cells do not shrink as dramatically during sleep as they do in younger people. The production of cerebrospinal fluid itself slows down, and the overall flow rate through the system decreases. This means that the older you are, the more you need to give your glymphatic system every possible advantage, because it is already working harder to do a job that was easier a few decades ago. Think of it like a car engine with higher mileage. It still works. It can still do the job. But it needs better maintenance, better conditions, and better care to perform at its best. Sleep position is one of the simplest ways to give your aging glymphatic system a better environment to work in. It requires no money, no equipment, no prescription, just awareness. Let us also talk briefly about amyloid beta because it keeps coming up and it is worth understanding properly. Amyloid beta is a protein fragment that is naturally produced in the brain as a byproduct of normal brain activity. In a healthy brain with a well-functioning glymphatic system, it gets cleared away efficiently each night during sleep. No problem. But when this clearance is disrupted, either because of poor sleep, inefficient sleep position, sleep disorders, or simply age-related decline in the glymphatic system, amyloid begins to accumulate. Over time, these accumulated fragments clump together into what scientists call plaques. And these plaques are one of the hallmark features found in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. The connection is not a coincidence. Researchers now believe that disrupted sleep and poor glymphatic clearance may be one of the contributing factors in the development of cognitive decline later in life. Again, I want to be clear. Poor sleep position alone does not cause Alzheimer's. This is a complex condition with multiple contributing factors, including genetics, lifestyle, cardiovascular health, and many other elements. But sleep quality and glymphatic function are now firmly part of the scientific conversation about brain health, and sleep position is part of that conversation. The good news, and there is very good news here, is that this is something you can begin to address tonight. You do not need to wait for a doctor's appointment. You do not need to order anything online. You do not need to change your entire lifestyle. You just need to understand what your body needs and give it the best possible chance each night. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about in the next section. Before we go any further, I just want to check in with you for a second. Are you still with me? Because what is coming next is genuinely the most practical and useful part of this entire video. We are about to talk about exactly what you can do starting tonight. Simple, free, real changes that support your brain while you sleep. So if you are finding this useful, do me a small favor and just tap that like button right now. It genuinely helps this information reach more people who need it. And stay right here because the next part is where everything comes together. Right. Let us get into the practical side of things, because information without action is just trivia. Yeah. And I know that you are watching this because you actually want to do something positive for your health. So let us talk about what really works. The first thing is the sleep position itself. The research points toward left side sleeping as the most supportive position for glymphatic drainage. But I want to be realistic with you. If you have slept on your right side or your back for 50 years, you are not going to change overnight, literally. Your body has deeply ingrained habits. So here's a practical approach that actually works for real people. Start by making the transition gradual. On the first few nights, simply try to fall asleep on your left side. You may wake up having rolled onto your right side or your back. That is completely normal, and it does not mean you have failed. The goal is to spend more of your sleep on your left side over time, not to achieve perfection from night one. Even shifting 30 or 40% of your sleep time to the left side is a meaningful improvement. One technique that many people find helpful is placing a firm pillow behind your back when you lie on your left side. This makes it physically harder to roll onto your back during the night. It acts as a gentle physical barrier. It is a simple trick, but it is genuinely effective. You can use a regular pillow, a body pillow, or even a rolled-up blanket. Whatever you have at home will work perfectly well. Another approach is to put a small, firm pillow between your knees when lying on your side. This aligns your hips and spine more comfortably, which makes side sleeping significantly more comfortable for people who have found it awkward in the past. Hip and lower back discomfort is one of the main reasons people avoid side sleeping, and this simple addition often solves that problem completely. Now let us talk about something equally important. Your sleep quality overall. It's because the best sleep position in the world will not give your glymphatic system what it needs if you are not reaching deep, restorative sleep. The glymphatic system is most active during the deep sleep stages, also known as slow-wave sleep. If you are waking frequently, sleeping lightly, or not getting enough total sleep hours, your brain is not getting the full cleaning cycle it needs, regardless of which side you are on. So how do you improve your sleep quality after 60? Here are some evidence-based approaches that genuinely make a difference. Keep a consistent sleep schedule. Go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning, even on weekends, even on holidays. Your brain and body run on a biological clock called the circadian rhythm. When you keep consistent timing, this clock stays well calibrated and your sleep quality improves significantly. When you disrupt it by staying up late some nights and sleeping in on others, your sleep architecture becomes fragmented and your glymphatic system pays the price. Manage your light exposure carefully. Natural daylight in the morning is one of the most powerful signals your circadian clock receives. Try to get outside or sit near a bright window within the first hour of waking. This sets your biological clock for the day and helps ensure you feel genuinely sleepy at the right time in the evening. In the evening, dim your lights and reduce screen time at least an hour before bed. The blue light from phones, tablets, and television signals to your brain that it is still daytime, which delays the release of melatonin, your natural sleep hormone. Keep your bedroom cool. This one surprises a lot of people, but the research on it is very consistent. Your core body temperature needs to drop slightly in order for you to fall into deep sleep. A slightly cooler bedroom, somewhere around 16 to 19 degrees Celsius, supports this natural temperature drop far better than a warm room. Many people over 60 actually sleep in rooms that are too warm, which fragments their sleep without them even realizing it. Avoid alcohol in the evening. I know this is one that some people do not want to hear. A glass of wine in the evening feels relaxing, and it does help some people fall asleep faster. But alcohol significantly disrupts the quality of sleep. It suppresses REM sleep, it fragments the later stages of the night, and it actually reduces the depth of slow-wave sleep, which is exactly the stage when your glymphatic system does most of its work. So even if alcohol helps you fall asleep, it is working against your brain's cleaning process once you are asleep. Stay hydrated, but time it correctly. Cerebrospinal fluid is predominantly water-based. When you are even mildly dehydrated, the production and flow of this fluid is reduced. This directly impacts glymphatic function, so make sure you are drinking adequate water throughout the day. However, taper off your fluid intake in the last hour or two before bed to avoid disrupting your sleep with trips to the bathroom. Balance is the key here. Exercise during the day, regular physical activity, even gentle walking, has been shown in multiple studies to improve sleep quality. Increase the amount of slow-wave sleep you get and support overall brain health. You do not need to run marathons. A 20 to 30-minute walk, most days of the week, makes a measurable difference to sleep quality in older adults. The timing matters too. Try to finish any physical activity at least 2 to 3 hours before bedtime so your body has time to wind down properly. These changes are all within reach. None of them cost money. None of them require a prescription. They just require understanding and a bit of consistency. Now that you understand the glymphatic system and what it needs to function well, I want to take you a step deeper. Because there are several other factors that directly influence how well your brain cleans itself each night, and some of them might genuinely surprise you. Let us start with stress. Chronic stress is one of the most underappreciated enemies of glymphatic function in people over 60. When you are under ongoing stress, your body maintains elevated levels of cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone. Cortisol is not inherently bad. Short bursts of it help you respond to challenges. But chronically elevated cortisol disrupts sleep architecture, reduces the depth of slow-wave sleep, and interferes with the cellular processes that allow glymphatic drainage to happen efficiently. The connection is straightforward. Stress disrupts sleep. Disrupted sleep impairs glymphatic clearance. Impaired clearance allows toxic proteins to accumulate. Over time, this contributes to cognitive decline. So managing stress is not just about your mental well-being. It is directly connected to how well your brain ages physically. What actually works for stress management? The research is clearest on a few specific approaches. Diaphragmatic breathing, which simply means slow. Deep breathing from the belly, rather than shallow chest breathing, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of the stress response. Just 5 to 10 minutes of slow, deliberate breathing before bed measurably reduces cortisol and improves the ease of falling into deep sleep. It costs nothing, and anyone can do it. Social connection is another factor that the research links directly to brain health and sleep quality in older adults. Loneliness and social isolation are associated with poorer sleep quality, higher levels of inflammatory markers in the blood, and faster cognitive decline. If you are living alone or have found that your social circle has become smaller as you have got older, this is worth taking seriously. Regular, meaningful social interaction, whether with family, friends, a community group, or even a trusted neighbor, supports your brain in ways that go beyond what any supplement can offer. Now let us talk about diet, because what you eat during the day has a very direct influence on what happens in your brain at night. The glymphatic system is an active biological process. It requires energy, it requires adequate raw materials, and it is significantly influenced by inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation, which is driven heavily by diet, is one of the key factors associated with impaired glymphatic function in older adults. Foods that promote inflammation include refined sugars, ultra-processed foods, excessive salt, and foods high in trans fats. Reducing these in your diet supports not just your cardiovascular health, but also the efficiency of your brain's cleaning system. On the positive side, foods that are rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds support brain health meaningfully. Berries, particularly blueberries, have been extensively studied for their effect on brain health and cognition in older adults. Leafy green vegetables like spinach and kale are rich in folate and vitamin K, which are associated with slower cognitive decline. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel provide omega-3 fatty acids that support the structural integrity of brain cell membranes and reduce neuroinflammation. Extra virgin olive oil deserves a special mention here because the research on it and brain health is genuinely impressive. A compound in olive oil called oleocanthal has been shown in laboratory studies to enhance the activity of proteins that are involved in clearing amyloid from the brain. There is also strong evidence from Mediterranean diet research, some of the most extensive long-term diet research ever conducted, showing that regular consumption of olive oil is associated with significantly better cognitive outcomes in older age. This is not about a miracle cure, it's about consistently giving your brain supportive nutrition over time. Nuts, particularly walnuts, have also been specifically studied in relation to brain health in older adults. Walnuts contain omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin E, folate, and polyphenols, all of which have been linked to reduced oxidative stress in brain tissue and better cognitive function in aging populations. Let us talk briefly about omega-3 fatty acids in more depth because they come up repeatedly in brain health research and for very good reason. The brain is approximately 60% fat by dry weight. The structural fats in brain cell membranes are heavily composed of omega-3 fatty acids, particularly one called DHA, which stands for docosahexaenoic acid. As we age, the brain's ability to maintain optimal levels of DHA is reduced. Studies have consistently found that older adults with higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids in their blood perform better on cognitive tests and have lower rates of brain atrophy on brain scans. Getting omega-3 south from food is always the preferred route. 2 to 3 servings of oily fish per week provides a meaningful intake. If you do not eat fish, plant-based sources like flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts provide ALA, which the body can partially convert to DHA, although this conversion is limited. This is an area worth discussing with your own healthcare provider if you have specific concerns about your intake. Vitamin D is another nutrient that is strongly linked to both sleep quality and brain health in older adults. A significant proportion of older adults in the UK are deficient in vitamin D, particularly during the autumn and winter months when sunlight exposure is limited. Vitamin D deficiency has been associated with poorer sleep quality, reduced glymphatic efficiency, and increased risk of cognitive decline. Getting sunlight exposure on your skin during the warmer months and eating vitamin D-rich foods like oily fish and eggs is beneficial. However, supplementation is something to discuss with your GP based on your own levels. We have covered a lot of ground together today, and I want to bring it all together for you in a way that is clear, practical, and genuinely useful. Because what matters at the end of this video is not how much information you have absorbed. What matters is whether you leave here feeling empowered to do something positive for your brain, and I believe you will. Let us do a quick summary of the key things we have learned today. Your brain has its own powerful cleaning system called the glymphatic system. It works almost exclusively during deep sleep. It clears out toxic waste products, including amyloid beta, which is directly connected to Alzheimer's disease research. This cleaning process is significantly influenced by your sleep position. The research currently indicates that sleeping on the left side supports glymphatic drainage more effectively than sleeping on the right side or the back. And after the age of 60, when the glymphatic system naturally becomes less efficient due to aging, giving it every possible advantage matters more than ever. You also now know that sleep position is just one piece of a broader picture. Sleep quality overall, stress levels, diet, hydration, physical activity, social connection, and light exposure all directly influence how well your brain cleans and restores itself each night. I want to say something directly to those of you who might be feeling a little worried right now. Maybe you have been sleeping on your right side for decades. Maybe your sleep has not been great for a while. Maybe you've noticed some memory changes recently, and this video has touched a nerve. I hear you, and I want you to hear this. You have not done anything wrong. You did not know this information because it was not widely available until recently. And the fact that you are here, watching this, learning, and being proactive about your brain health is genuinely one of the most powerful things you can do. The brain has a remarkable capacity called neuroplasticity, which means it can adapt, it can respond to positive changes, and it can benefit from better conditions even in later life. It is never too late to start doing the right things. Start tonight with one small change. Just try falling asleep on your left side. Put a pillow behind your back if it helps. Do not stress about being perfect. Just give it a try. That is all. Here is your simple action plan to take away from today. Tonight, try to fall asleep on your left side and use a pillow behind your back to help maintain the position through the night. Set a consistent bedtime and wake time and stick to it as much as possible. Dim your lights and put your phone away an hour before bed. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. Do 5 minutes of slow, deep breathing before you close your eyes. During the day, get some natural daylight in the morning. Eat more anti-inflammatory foods, including berries, leafy greens, olive oil, and oily fish. Stay well hydrated throughout the day, but taper off fluids before bed. Move your body gently every day, even if it is just a 20-minute walk. And reach out to someone you care about, because social connection is brain medicine. None of this costs a penny. All of it is backed by science. All of it is completely within your reach. I do want to say one more important thing before we wrap up. Everything I have shared with you today is for general educational and informational purposes. I am not a doctor, and this video is not medical advice. Every person is different, and every brain is different. If you have specific concerns about your memory, your sleep, or your cognitive health, please speak with your own GP or a qualified healthcare professional. They know your full medical history, and they are the right person to give you personalized guidance. What I can do, and what I hope I have done today, is give you better information to start that conversation with. You know, one of the things I think about a lot with this channel is the gap between what science actually knows and what most people ever get to hear about. The glymphatic system was discovered in 2012. It is now 2025, and most people still have never heard of it. Most people still do not know that their sleep position has any connection to their brain health at all. That gap bothers me, because this is not complicated information. It does not require a medical degree to understand. It just requires someone to explain it clearly and honestly. And that is exactly what this channel is here to do. Your brain has been working for you every single day of your life. It deserves the best possible conditions to recover each night. And you now have the knowledge to give it that. Now I have a question for you, and I genuinely want to know your answer. I read every single comment on this channel. Which side do you currently sleep on? Have you ever thought about your sleep position before today? And if you are going to try switching to your left side tonight, I want to hear about it. Drop it in the comments below. Tell me your experience. Tell me if you have noticed any difference in how you feel after sleeping on your left side, even for just a few nights. Your experience might be exactly what someone else watching needs to hear. And if you found real value in this video today, please share it with someone you care about who is over 60. Your children, your partner, your friend, your neighbor. Because this is the kind of information that genuinely deserves to spread. Not because it is dramatic or sensational, but because it is true, it is practical, and it can make a real difference to someone's quality of life. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Take care of your brain tonight. It is the only one you have. I will see you in the next video.